I kind of miss Donald Trump. He was a little teddy bear to me. We always had such a loving relationship during these debates and in between and the tweets. I kind of miss him. I wish he was here. Everybody else was in the witness protection program when I went after him on behalf of what the Republican cause should be. Conservative principles, believing in limited government, believing in accountability, leading by fixing the things that are broken.
So was Jeb able to keep his cool since the Donald was not on that stage last night? Dr. Oz tracked that and the stress levels of all the other candidates with the ShareCare app we've been talking about over the last few weeks, which uses the voice to determine stress levels. Dr. Oz and the developer of ShareCare, Eric Feingold, who is the developer and CEO of ShareCare. Guys, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You watched the debates?
Of course.
Good. Thank goodness. The first soundbite that you guys picked out is going to be Ted Cruz attacking Marco Rubio.
Actually, before we go there, let's just talk about the clip they already saw. You saw there was a little voice indulation when Jeb was talking. But before I let Eric explain what was going on there, we had tremendous response since we've been coming on about the ShareCare app. It's interesting. People are using it to determine their own and develop their own awareness of how their voice is affecting their relationships. Now, Bill O'Reilly, right before the debate last night, pointed out something sort of interesting. He said it's not even so much about what they're saying about policy, it's how they're interacting with each other. How you look at people's stress in their voice sends a very important message to the people around you. And if you're a candidate, it sends it to all your potential voters.
And the octaves of people's voice, for example, James Earl Jones is the deepest voice in America. He could still show stress, as can Sarah Palin.
It's not about the vocal quality. It's not about how beautiful your voice is, how high or how low. The voice is like a mirror. It's like a mirror of your heart.
And you saw Jeb Bush do what yesterday?
So it was interesting to see that in previous events, when he was attacking Trump or when they were in a clash, you could see very high stress levels. This time, it was the first time, I think, that when he was discussing Trump or addressing Trump indirectly, you could see was completely calm, very low stress for the very first time since
it was like the bully wasn't in the room anymore.
Right.
And he wasn't.
And he wasn't. And he felt free. Now, interestingly, when Trump announced his boycott, and we're not going to show that little clip, but it's on the Fox News website, there was no stress in his voice at all when he was attacking Megyn Kelly. But when he began to comment on his relationship with Fox, there was stress. What does that reflect? The stakes are bigger. Alienating an entire network is a little bigger of a deal than attacking an individual, and those are patterns we tend to see. You have another clip that shows Rubio, I believe.
Well, yeah, let's take a look at Ted Cruz attacking Marco Rubio as it comes to amnesty, and this one on and on and on.
You've been willing to say or do anything in order to get votes. Ted, you worked for George W. Bush's campaign. You helped design George W. Bush's immigration policy. And then when you got to the Senate, you did an interview with CBS News that wasn't even part of the video, where you said on the issue of people that are here illegally, we can reach a compromise. And then in the committee, you said, I want to bring people out of the shadows. Now you want to trump Trump on immigration.
Well, I mean, that's a little reverse. This is Rubio first. So right. I heard a higher pitch.
Well, it is a higher pitch, but just with the same pitch, you can see that at the very end, his stress level is low. So it's not about the pitch, but it's about the topic or what is it that he was getting into. In the beginning, you saw that when he was getting into the more general attack at Cruz, you could see how his stress went from uneasy to really intense. It was kind of a generalized attack. It wasn't on something specific, but like something about very much in the past. And it's interesting to see that because this kind of attack and this kind of stress show that there is more of, I want to say, more of a personal threat. He may feel more threatened by Cruz at this topic.
And this is critically important because, again, he's sending a very subtle message. It's subconscious to us, but we're absolutely getting that note. So you saw a little arrow go back and forth like a gas tank. It went into a very intense stress level, again, because he sees him as a threat. But when he won the argument, as he felt at the end, the stress level went down.
All right. Now let's go at the other side of it. Now, this is going to be Ted Cruz answering this call.
You know, I like Marco. He's very charming. He's very smooth. But the facts are simple. When he ran for election in the state of Florida, he told the people of Florida, if you elect me, I will lead the fight against amnesty. When I ran in Texas, I told the people of Texas, if you elect me, I will lead the fight against amnesty. We both made the identical promises. But when we came to Washington, we made a different choice.
But that's where the debate happened. You saw it dropped towards the end.
Right, exactly. So on that note, when you see in the very beginning, when he begins only to recount what happened, his stress is not very high, but you see a certain buildup. And you see that the buildup really reaches the peak in this piece when he was talking about amnesty, something that he really cares about. But when he speaks about Rubio, he is not really stressed. So for him, this attack is not personal. One of the things you can learn from that...
Yet it is.
Well, it is and it isn't. That's very interesting. From what we saw, people who see the other person as a threat are much more likely to be stressed in a personal attack. People who don't see the other person as a threat are much more likely to show low stress when they talk about the other person. And you see here that Cruz does not get stressed when he mentions Rubio. So you can learn a bit about how he really sees.
So these become important tools. We're sending this out to the candidates. They can see how their voice modulates and sends subconscious messages out, and how they interact with each other is a big way where we can begin to audit how they'll deal with the stress of being in the White House.
Wow. So you could actually download this app and do it yourself in your own life.
Thanks to you guys. There have been many, many who have, and the reviews you'll see in the different purchasing units are fantastic. The benefit, again, is it builds awareness of what you're saying to the world. Even though it's not your words, it's the voice itself that's messaging out things you may or may not want the world to hear, so pay attention to them.
Right, okay, as a voter and in your life. Dr. Oz, Eric Feingold, great job.
Thanks
so much. We'll see you next week. We'll do it again.